Holly Cotton here, and I told you guys that I was going to bring this gym back at some point because we had lots of feedback and lots of unanswered questions. So, we are going to have Miss Rasheeta Joy fill us in today again, get our lives together. So, if you guys do not remember, Rasheeta is a plant based nutrition specialist, a content creator, a personal trainer, and she is also the owner of Pretty Pumped Fitness. So, welcome, Rasheeta Joy.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be back. I mean, this is so special. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So, you guys, what I wanted to do today, because if you follow, and if you're not yet, you better get on there and go follow her right now. Rasheeta, what's your Instagram? What
Rasheeta,
is it?
Rasheeta Joy.
Okay, Rasheetajoy. So, if you have not followed her yet, first of all, go follow her because her page is not only is it hilarious, but it is full of tons and tons and tons of actual information about plant-based diet, how to make sure we're doing those lifestyle changes. And what we're going to focus on today are some of her videos that are male and female specific, and also how you guys can implement some of the recommendations that she has for a better sex life, for any type of female problems, hormonal issues. Like, we're going to break it down. First, we got you in the kitchen. Can we at least, like we said before, can we at least exchange a potato chip for a potato? So now today, Rasheeta Joy is going to break all of that down for us and give us some information. So before we get into it, Rasheeta, tell us again how plant-based became your focus and what you're trying to sort of recommend to other people for a holistic lifestyle.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, make sure you guys do follow me because I do like to create a lot of content. I put a lot of joy into it and it's fun and educational at the same time. But I transitioned to being plant-based about 6 years ago, and it was something that my mother kind of passed down to me as she was struggling with colon cancer. There are a couple documentaries that came out called What the Health, and a lot of people started transitioning, especially a lot of African American people started transitioning to eating a plant-based diet. And like you, Holly, I've always been into fitness, and I was like, I got to figure out how am I going to turn this plant-based lifestyle and actually make it work with the physique that I want. Going under a lot of study, a lot of research, and finding out, how to do macros and things like that, knowing that the whole food plant-based diet has a lot of minerals and vitamins, and it can be proven to be really good for us. So that's how I got into it. That's how I've been sharing it with a lot of women and some men that want to just live longer, have a happier, healthier life, last longer in the bedroom, like that's been very interesting because once you relate what you eat to how you perform, people are kind of like, you know what? I probably can eat some okra. Maybe I could try it.
I love that. I love that. Yes. And so I also want to, I guess, start with that. And then I have tons and tons of questions. So all my boo's gonna be happy. No, I'm kidding. But we're gonna get some information for those people that do have the booze. So first, to kind of talk about that, whenever we're talking about male libido, so you talk about you guys, I'm telling you, her content is so hilarious. She'll actually have the little filter where she looks like a man, and how she's about to go throw it down tonight, and when her man, how she feels after her man did his thing. So I love it. I love it. I love it. So when we're talking about some of those things, because again, we just had prostate cancer awareness month, and I had a urologist on, special sex specialist, and he was talking about some of the issues that men have as they age, and things like that. So one of the most recent videos that you talked about was red maca root, and you're talking about libido in there. So can you give us some insight into what that is and how that affects, like you said, the male libido?
So actually, there's a red and a black maca root,
Okay.
and when you go to the store, sometimes it just says maca root, right? But there are specifics that work really good for men and ones that work really good for women. Like the red maca root works really, really well with women. It helps them with libido and stamina and desire. And the black maca root is actually really, really good for men, right? To help increase
Mm.
testosterone and desire as well. So, yeah, those are really two great supplements that people don't always use correctly, but still, you may still get some good results from just using, maca root you find in your Sprouts or your Whole Foods, things like that. I actually own a supplement line that has these specific herbs for women and for men that I'm usually showing on those posts as well. And a lot of the foods that you eat as well, when you think of like, I don't want to say sex foods or foods that are like good for sexy time, or you think of like aphrodisiacs, right?
Mhm.
People think of like chocolate and oysters and things like that. But the truth is, sexy foods are foods that increase blood flow, right? Like we all want to have better blood flow for men and for women, because the more blood flow that we have going to our, genitalia, the better our orgasms will be. The longer he will last. There'll just be more pleasure involved, and those kinds of foods are usually kind of spicy, right? So like ginger, right? Garlic, they got a little tang to them. They make blood flow throughout your body. Greens and vegetables and things like that. Peppers, cinnamon, those types of foods and spices will increase blood flow through your body.
And also, just to also piggyback on what you were saying about the blood flow. So, whenever we're talking about libido and we're talking about the diet and how that affects us performing sexually, people have to understand that this is a gradual supplement, a gradual change of lifestyle. I know people think, oh, let me go get some roots and then now today I'm gonna be able to, I don't have to I won't have to take anything for impotence. I'm gonna be
Right.
able to go for hours and hours. So, can you go into explain that to them? Like we're talking about, this is a diet lifestyle change, and how long is it going to be, and how do they realize that those things are therapeutic in their diet?
Yes, you're so right. I'm glad you brought that up because sometimes people think, I don't know if you ever heard about, they'll talk about how women can eat pineapple and it'll make them
Mhm.
sweeter. And all these women went out and got all these pineapples and they're like, hey, nothing changed. But it's like, it takes time, right? It takes the lifestyle change. It involves using these herbs and eating these fruit foods on a daily basis to actually see the results of it. So it's not a, overnight, I'm gonna eat some watermelon and things are going to be great. Now, it would be great if you do feel some good effects from it, right? There are some herbs that are really strong and can make really great results fairly quickly. But when it comes to your lifestyle, like you want to be able to keep that testosterone, you want to keep that desire, and you want to balance your hormones. So if you're eating foods that are really good for you, you got your kale and you got your ginger and you got your smoothies, but you're also eating a lot of refined sugar, cakes, cookies, things like that. You're throwing off your balance, especially with women,
Mhm.
because we're all full of hormones. Like we got many hormones that affect our sexual desire, right? So there are certain foods that will throw that off, like the sugar and the highly refined foods and dairy and things like that. So it is a lifestyle change to get the benefits from these foods, even as being aphrodisiacs. It takes time. In any herb, I would say it could take 6 weeks of using it to actually feel the full effects of it.
Mhm.
But there are some that you'll be like, man, I think I can go right now.
And Rashida's gonna sidebar about that with me, so I can make sure I slip some of those in.
I'll send them to you, girl, because I got them. I'll send them to you.
I love that. I love that. Okay, and also that was one of my next questions that I have. And so before I get into the specific question, which is going to be about pH, because I get asked about that all the time, but I have a specific question because It's so funny. I have this story, and I was actually at a brunch, and it was a whole group of us, and we had like a section, and there was like this weird lady next to us, and I ordered some grilled shrimp with asparagus because I was trying to be healthy, not eating the chicken and waffles. So she starts yelling like really loud. She's like, "Oh, don't eat that asparagus. It's gonna make your coochie taste bad," and whatever. And I was like, okay, first of all, I don't have that problem. I eat asparagus all of the time. Um, I don't know what you got going on over there, but over here, I'm okay. But I kind of looked up it about it, and I did see that there are some, I guess, ways that maybe it affects the way that your vagina would taste, or does it do something? Is it because it messes with the urinary tract? That's why your urine is so potent. So, can you tell us about that? Like, what is your opinion about certain things? And I know Brussels sprouts is in that same family also. So, is that true? Do certain I guess whatever those kinds of vegetables are actually change your pH taste?
That's such a good point. And before I actually say, because you can, I can eat asparagus, and when I use the restroom to urinate, I'm like, "Ooh, I had asparagus." Like you can smell it, right?
That part. Same, same.
Right. So just imagine, like, if asparagus can have that effect on you, and that means other foods can have that effect on you in the good way, right? So just we got to think about that as well. But it's not going to make your, I mean, when you're intimate with someone, there's all kinds of fluids and things around, right? And the last thing somebody wants to smell is asparagus, right? Because it's all in one area, but it's
That
not,
ain't sexy.
yeah, it's not sexy, right? So it's not going to have any other negative effect on you besides, like, it may just smell weird, right? But the same thing can happen if, um, you know, we're all adults here. So if you're with a guy and he's drank a lot of beer, and then all his fluids will smell like yeast and beer, and so what you eat does matter in how you are received to the other person. So
Mhm.
that's the main principle why I'm teaching about eating a whole food plant-based diet, is because um this matters, like this matters in your performance, and if you're eating chicken wings and fried foods, it comes out of your pores, it comes out of your body.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to tell anybody don't eat asparagus or any kind of cruciferous vegetable, because it's going to make their pH go bad. No. Foods that throw off your pH balance are the highly refined foods, the sweet foods, the sugary foods. And I love talking about that because pH and yeast infections and sugar, right, being one of the main culprits in that whole fiasco, right? And then the men on my Instagram will be like, well, what about women's hygiene? Like, they don't clean enough. And I'm like, most women clean, right? Themselves. But certain things like making sure you use cotton underwear, for example, all that pretty lacy stuff is cute for a few moments, but then you got to use some cotton, right? Also making sure when you go to the gym, you're sweating, change those undergarments. If you got to run some errands, things like that, and also being safe with your partner as well, because you can also transmit things like bacteria vaginosis from partner to partner, or with your same partner if you're not actually treating it. I think those are some things that we probably know, but most people don't really realize that a lot of the sugar in the Starbucks and the donuts that we eat play a big impact, have a big impact on our pH balance.
Mm, interesting, Rashida. Interesting. Hmm. Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm watching this show with Holly Cotton and Rasheeta Joy, and I'm like, ooh, I love this content. I want to start today. I want to implement it, and I want to get my vaginal pH on point. So obviously, you already said get rid of the sugar, get rid of the refined sugars. But what else can I do? Because if I go start pineapple today, we know that's not going to work. So talk to me like I'm a person coming to you and saying, "Hey, Rasheeta, I heard this show and I really want to start today, and I think I need something to help my pH. What can I do? What would your recommendations be of what to add?"
What to add? Well, let's see. One, I would make sure that you have a good probiotic, right? Or you're eating some kind of food that is heavy in probiotics, like implementing kimchi or sauerkraut or kombucha, right? To help balance the pH in your gut, right? Because, sometimes when everybody's pH gets off at some time, they're like, oh, you need to make sure you got enough good bacterias in your body. So make sure you do that. And of course, start removing those highly refined sugars. And again, I'm a plant-based nutritionist, so I'm gonna tell you, like, come on, girl, come my program. Let's get plant-based. Let's flood our body with minerals and vitamins and get rid of all the other stuff. But you might not be
I
there
be
yet.
trying, Rashida. I be trying. I be trying.
Well, you might not be there yet. But first, I would say make sure you get a good probiotic or eat foods that are fermented, right? So I'm not really big into all the artificially probiotic things. I like the real stuff like sauerkraut, kimchi, things like that have been fermented. And that will help you there. If you want to, let's say, like I want to start right now. I heard I can get juicy and I can get sweet, and all I gotta do is go to the grocery store. I would tell you to buy um maybe like a good tea, right? There's some teas. You ever heard of what's it called? Mother's milk, right? It's called Mother's Milk, but it's a tea. It's organic and it's made with fenugreek, right? So you start drinking that on a daily
Mm.
basis, and it's supposed to actually turn, like women that are nursing, lactating, it kind of turns the breast milk sweet, and it has the same effect on you, even if you're not, producing breast milk. That's always a little trick, secret, fenugreek at the grocery store. But again, it's something that you start putting in
I'm
practice,
writing that down.
right? Like I'm gonna drink fenugreek tea before I go to bed. I'm gonna
We're
drink
going to get some today. No.
things like that, and anything that's really hydrating, right, will make you juicy, right? And you don't want to eat things that um, dehydrate you. Okay, so
Mhm.
again, that sugar, that caffeine can dehydrate you. Alcohol. It's just always a tricky one because people will think, oh, I got some Henny in, and oh, everything was great. But the truth is that alcohol dehydrates you. And yes, it can kind of reduce stress and anxiety in your mind. But for your physical body, it is dehydrating. So eat juicy fruits, things that really hydrate you.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so now I'm looking at this other reel that you have that I bookmarked on your page, Rashida, and it is the ones foods I'd never feed my husband again. And so you have watermelon, walnuts, peppers, and broccoli. So give us how one the research that it went to find that. No, I'm kidding. But how are these foods some of the foods that you recommend for men, and what do they do for men? Other so it's just the blood flow, or is it other things that affect it? Is it the mindset? Like how do these foods actually help men when we're talking about in the bedroom?
So a lot of those foods are going to be for blood stimulation, right? Blood flow, fertility as well. Um,
Mm,
and I kind of do a joke with it, like foods I'll never feed my husband again because
right.
I don't like showing, and I don't call foods bad, but I don't want to show like Oreos, right? Because we're allowed to have Oreos or chips when you want to have them. I'd rather show you the good stuff and then just make you
Mm,
feel like, what? She's not going to give her husband ginger? Like, that's crazy. What's that about? But all of
right.
those, yeah, all of those foods have some kind of antioxidant to either help with like libido or stamina. We know that healthy sugars, I think I've shown like dates and tamarind, healthy sugars that will increase energy and blood flow. Lots of minerals like zinc can help with fertility, making people happier. Which I also make a joke about that, saying like, I'm not going to give my husband quinoa anymore because he was just too happy. And I'm exaggerating a bit, but when you have a lot of minerals and vitamins, you reduce the chances of depression, anxiety. You just feel happier, you feel better. You might lose some weight. So, if you lose a couple inches in your waist, we already getting more confident. We're getting more sexy. We're feeling better. So that's where that comes from. And then there's certain things that aren't necessarily proven, but I've traveled a lot. Like I went to Ghana and there's a lot of women making babies over there. And one of their recommendations was to drink okra water. And most people are like, yuck, okra. But as soon as I said okra and I related it to sex, they were like, I think I could try some okra. You know, maybe I could do okra. I don't know. It's a little slimy. And the point of
Mhm.
that is it is slimy, right? It does have a slip. So anything that makes a slip in your mouth will make a slip, in your vagina. Okay. So aloe vera, chia seeds, okay, flax seeds, which are really good for your hormones. Um,
Mhm.
what else? Chia, flax, okra, aloe vera, they all make a gel, which is really, really good for our whole entire body. Like we want everything to kind of slip. We want our hair to slip, slippery elm.
Mhm.
Things like that really help with lubrication, which makes sex more pleasurable for women.
Okay, so I know that another thing that you talk about a lot, Rashida, is about menstrual cycles. And you do a lot of stuff, especially educating women and especially Black women, because Black women have a higher risk of fibroids, ovarian cancer. There's all of these risks that obviously we've identified numerous times on other shows. So I know that you are out here being an advocate for Black women's health as well. So I know that you like sell some stuff, so I don't want to give too much free stuff away, but can you give us some recommendations for women that do have heavy periods or the cramping or whatever it is? Maybe they have cramping and don't have heavy periods, but there's something that goes along with it. And I know you educate people a lot on the hormonal effects or whatever. So can you give us some recommendation for women that have cramping or bad periods, fibroids, any of that?
Absolutely. So, um, I'm very aware that when people decide to go plant based, and I'm not talking about processed artificially foods plant based, I'm talking about broccoli and kale and mushrooms and like it's a whole lifestyle. So, it would be crazy for me to just say, go plant based and everything will be fixed, right? So I'm not going to say that. But I will say, just adding more vegetables, adding more fruits, which are minerals and vitamins, will really help you um, decrease the amount of blood you're losing and help replenish the iron that you may be losing through having heavy cycles. And
Mhm.
then some practical things are changing your products that you use, like your menstrual products. So if anybody's like me, you grew up on like Always and Stay Free, and that's what we grew up on. That's what we had. That's what we got. But a lot
Kotex.
of Kotex, latex, all those. But a lot of them are made with harmful chemicals, right? Like I know we all know about toxic shock syndrome, but
Mhm.
a lot of those pads are made with bleach. And as soon as women change over to a natural product, you can use Target has a brand. There's lots of brands in Target that are more natural, even some Black owned brands. You'll notice that your period can actually get a little bit lighter. Like,
Mhm.
what? Crazy. Because now you've removed that bleach, those pesticides that were in that cotton that they were using. That's something that could really help you. And then, you know, I think my main thing is always the sugar, right? If you can't go the whole cycle without eating any kind of sugar, really pay attention to those first 3 days before your cycle. Okay. So the last couple days before your cycle. So start eliminating the sugar. Just try to cut it out, eat more fruits. And caffeine. Caffeine is another one. I know everybody's doctor is like, how many cups of coffee do you drink a day? Because again, it is dehydrating and it will affect your menstrual cycle. You'll start bleeding really heavy. And then just treat your menstrual cycle as, remember, it's the beginning of your cycle when you actually start to bleed. So really start paying attention and being careful with what you're intaking. So if you have low iron, then you want to make sure that you are eating foods very high in iron to help replenish, like what we just went through. So dates, broccoli, anything red, right? Beets, strawberries, implementing those. Lots of berries. Berries are good for us. Berries are the greatest thing ever. Lots of antioxidants, keep us young, keep eating berries, you know. But yeah, I would just say make sure that you um, change out your change. That's one thing like you could do right away. Change out your menstrual products. You know, you can use a cup if you want a menstrual cup. I know that could be a big change for people to go to a menstrual
Mhm.
cup versus, you know, tampons, things like that. But try to find a natural brand. There's plenty of them, and see how you feel.
Well, I'll let you guys know, Rashida, she should have a sponsorship with dates because I swear she's always trying to get you to eat a date. I would after our last show, I did. I tried to go try. I tried to get some dates, Rashida, and I still hate them. I still
Really?
do. Mm,
Really?
mm. I look
Wow.
how hurt she is.
I know.
I don't. Um, and some of I don't know the texture. I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I'm gonna try. I tried, but I can't do it. Now, let me ask you this. I know you were talking about seeds. So, what I want to do is also give people, like you said before, because it's got to be a gradual transition unless you're super disciplined and super strong to completely cross over. So, what are some things that I can go to the store today? Because I do a daily smoothie. Okay. So, say there's someone that's like me that's like, listen, now I'm trying, I do a little smoothie. If it ain't in the smoothie, then I can't help you. But what are some things that I can get that are maybe like seeds or some kind of supplements that maybe I can add to my smoothie to sort of help me have some of those therapeutic effects that you were saying earlier?
For women, especially that have any kind of hormonal imbalance, flax seeds, right? Flax seeds are proven to reduce the chance, help. I don't want to say the word with the C, but it's a lot of studies that have shown that flax seeds can help women that have any kind of uterine cancer, breast cancer, prevent cancer. So add those into your smoothie for sure, and make sure that they are ground. Okay, like milled. Sometimes say milled. Don't use like
Mhm.
the whole flaxseed unless you got a really good blender and it blends up the seeds. But make sure that they're already like ground flaxseed.
Mm.
um, I would say always add a seed to your smoothie. So a flaxseed or a chia seed. You don't have to use both. Um, yeah, I love dates because dates are high in iron and they sweeten things magically, right?
I
Um,
tried, Rashida. I tried. I'm telling you, I
you
tried.
like raisins? I don't
Mm,
like raisins.
I
Me
don't like
either.
anything with that sort of dry texture, I think.
Why was it dry? Dates are like
I
gooey.
know there well, I meant like with that wrinkly, like the wrinkly look.
I get it. I get it. But yeah, like I was saying, some flax seeds, berries. I would make berries a staple in your smoothies. You know, mangoes and bananas are good, really, really good for you. But the beauty is in the berries, right? That's what's going to keep us looking young and feeling good and get rid of any free radicals in our body because they have a lot of antioxidants. So, berries, flaxseed, you know, if you're trying to, you know, lose a few pounds, I would recommend that you use like water or coconut water, which is really hydrating for your smoothie instead of milks or ice creams or all those other things that the smoothie king likes to put in their
Mm.
smoothies sometimes. I'm like, wow, you guys put sorbet in here. Like, that's a lot.
That's
Um,
why they taste so good, Rashida. That's
I
why.
know, I know. But if somebody is ready to be super disciplined and they like, you know, I'm ready to start this shrinking process of fibroids and I'm ready to change my lifestyle. Like, I'm tired of being overweight. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of like whatever the situation is. Then come on over and then we'll make our transition to eating more fruits and vegetables, whole food, plant based. We know it doesn't happen overnight, but sometimes you just need help. Like, how do you make broccoli taste good? How do you make only vegetable? I like string beans. Like, how do you make collard greens without cooking them for 8 hours? Like, some people need help learning how to make cauliflower taste good and asparagus. And I hate mushrooms. So once you get a coach, they can kind of help you learn how to make these foods taste good. And then the more you eat them, the better they are. And, just like when we were kids, we might have hated black eyed peas, but then as we got older, it was like, I kind of like black eyed peas. Like, they're okay, or Brussels sprouts, right? Like, as a kid, I think we all hated Brussels sprouts. But now
I
they
love them.
they grilling them right. They putting some garlic on them. They got a little balsamic vinegar. And it's like, these ain't the Brussels sprouts I grew up with. So you just need somebody to help you learn how to do it. Because we all know I got to eat more fruits and vegetables, and maybe you just don't know how. So that's what I specialize is in teaching you how to make it delicious, how to add it in, how to get the nutrients, and just how to feel good.
Okay, okay. I'm taking notes, Rashida. I'm taking notes. And so, last question that I have is I wanted to ask you, because I know that because your page is fun and you have this sort of cool jovial persona to you,
Mhm.
that I feel like you're very approachable. So do you ever have any men that reach out to you on behalf of their partner? Like, do they ever slide in your DM or comment? Because I know men sometimes want to help their partner, but maybe don't want to hurt their feelings, or maybe their partner is not going to be receptive to what they're asking. So, do you ever have any men that ask you questions, and what are any of those questions that they would ask about?
That is so surprising to me when men reach out about their partners, because I have two products. One is called Female Libido and the other one's called Male Libido. And when I first dropped Male Libido, I mean, I was sold out. Every time I restock, I was sold out. The women were not that keen on buying products for their libido. So that was kind of telling something. And then when I started talking more about the female libido, they started buying it, but more men were buying it for their partner than women were actually buying it. And I think that is because when there are issues in relationships, and I know you know this whole thing, like when there are issues in a relationship, yeah, your libido is not going to be there no matter how much macaroon, how much horny goat weed you take.
Mm.
If you don't trust your partner, there's issues that are going to it's going to shut it down. You know what I mean? And so, that's that. But men surprisingly want to have children. That's what I get in my DM. How can I be more fertile? How can I make sure my sperm is working? What I got to eat? And I'm just like, wow, you guys really want to have children. Like, they really care about their sperm count. They care about their energy. And of course, it's all that masculine energy that women are attracted to. So it makes sense that they would want to be fertile, right? Women, on the other hand, we're like, I don't want to be fertile. But I'm like, a fertile woman is a healthy woman, right? Like, a woman that's fertile is healthy, right? Your skin will be bright, your hair will be nice, your teeth will be white, your eyes will be white, like the outside of your eyes. And men are attracted to what looks healthy, not to what looks sick. So, yeah, I will get men that, ask for themselves a lot and may ask for their partner. And sometimes it's embarrassing because like they'll tag their partner. And I'm like, oh, don't do that. Just share it. Like, just share it. Like, this is what you need. Like, oh, no, it's probably not what
Oh
she.
my God. First of all, you ain't getting no more. Like, that's it for you for the week. Because if
You
you
know?
tag me on a post about bad coochie,
Oh
it's over.
gosh. Like, how to make it juicy. Oh, tag this person. They need this. Try this. I'm like, oh no.
Oh my God, that is so funny, Rashida. And I can see men because they're like, babe, this for you, this for you. No, don't be putting my business out on the internet like that. Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
somebody even said, I need to give this.
I can, and you know what, Rashida, though, I'm glad that you are doing what you're doing because I've talked about this so many times. And even when I've had actual sex experts come on and sexual health specialists, urologists, gynecologists, every time I have someone on and they're talking about women's sexual health, it's the same thing that you just said. Why are women so iffy and not wanting to ask about that, like not wanting to find out more information? It's not saying that something is wrong with you. Who doesn't want to have the best sex with your partner possible? And it's crazy because men, they're willing to try anything for great sex, but
Yeah.
women we get into this thing where it's like I'm afraid to ask about that, or I'm afraid to act like I need help or that I don't know about it. So I love that you are doing what you're doing because you are educating so many people, and they may not even know they need the education, but you definitely are showing them that they do. So I love that. Okay, so drop all of your website because now you know everyone wants to go on and get some maca root for themselves or their partner. Drop all of your supplement information, your website, and how people can follow, like, and subscribe.
Yay, great. So if you do want to, come into the herbs and try something with your partner, you can get one for him, one for you, have fun. Okay. You're going to go to verdureherbs.com. That's VERDURE herbs.com. You can see all the herbs there. We're going to be doing something big for Black Friday, so make sure you check that out. You'll find the male and the female libido, which is what we spoke about. If you guys are interested in transitioning to eating whole food plant based, when January comes, I'll be doing a really big plant based transition for 30 days, which kind of follows along with the Daniel fast, right? People usually like to clean up and fast and get healthy for the new year. I do a big one every single year. Lots of people sign up. You'll go to prettypumpedfitness.com and you can find all this information on my Instagram page, which is Rasheeta Joy. Thank you so much for having me. This was so good.
Of course, I love it. I love it. And it's Rasheeta Joy, RASHEETAJOY. That's all of her tags in her Instagram, and then also her fitness page, pretty pumped fitness.
.com. Yep.
.com. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so that is Miss Rasheeta Joy, you guys. Thank you, Rasheeta.
Thank you so much.